They are top secret missions, manned by specially trained intelligence and military elite. Covert operations using unconventional tactics outside the standard protocol. But behind clandestine activities and state-of-the-art training are secrets. Secrets so deceptive.
Don't even go to the bin Laden raid if you think what you saw in the news has any correlation with what happened.
So elusive.
The CIA is violating the laws of foreign countries. That has to be kept secret.
So life-threatening.
Lord knows keeping secrets matters when your life is at stake.
That they've been kept hidden from the public until now.
I'm not going to be anyone's prisoner of war, anything to me. Because I'll chew your face off if I don't have any ammunition left.
There are those who believe in the existence of a book. A book that contains the most highly guarded secrets of the United States of America. A book whose very existence is known to only a select few. But if such a book exists, what would it contain? Secret origins? Secret missions? Secret lies? Does there really exist America's Book of Secrets? January 24th, 2012. Moments before President Barack Obama was to begin his State of the Union address, he commended the U.S. Secretary of Defense, Leon Panetta.
Good job tonight. Good job tonight.
But why? Kept secret from those outside the Defense Department was the knowledge that only minutes earlier, an elite group of American Special Forces, known as SEAL Team 6, had stormed a Somali compound in a daring rescue mission. In a matter of minutes, 2 hostages were extracted, unharmed, and President Obama confirmed the rescue with the families. It is the same elite unit which only 8 months earlier carried out an ultra-secret, highly classified mission, Operation Neptune Spear. 38 minutes after U.S. helicopters set down at a secret Pakistan compound, the world's most wanted terrorist, Osama bin Laden, was dead.
The United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda.
Within hours, news of the clandestine Black Operation, or Black Op, spread across the globe, proclaiming SEAL Team 6 as American heroes. But just who are the elite soldiers behind these top-secret operations? And what exactly makes a mission a Black Op?
Black Ops is a euphemism for unconventional operations. And Black Operations include everything from unconventional attacks against the enemy. Today, it's even cyber attacks. All the way through hostage rescue operations, surveillance, reconnaissance, intelligence collecting. Those are the kind of activities that we refer to today as Black Ops.
The primary function of Black Ops is to do something expeditiously that's got to be done right away without anybody knowing that it's going on. Nowadays, in warfare, we need a scalpel rather than a hammer.
That's covert action. That's action taken on behalf of the United States government in which the hand of the United States government is intended to remain hidden in activities which the United States government does not intend to acknowledge. It's that world between war and peace.
While the U.S. government refuses to acknowledge their existence, top-secret Tier 1 missions can only be designated at the highest levels of government and planned by the Central Intelligence Agency.
What makes a mission a Tier 1 mission? It's a determination made at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and inside the Pentagon.
These operations normally start with CIA. We collect all the intelligence for these guys to go into a place where they're first on the ground. Like Afghanistan, it was CIA in first, and the Special Forces came later. The CIA works with Delta Force and the SEALs every single day. A lot of the people inside the CIA had one time been in Delta Force or the SEALs.
While the SEALs and Army Delta Force are the most recognized, the Army, Navy, Air Force, all have elite Tier 1 units under the control of a unified combatant command.
Special Operations Command, which is the big umbrella that SEALs and Delta and Rangers and Air Force Special Forces fire, that's about 60,000 individuals. Of those 6,000 individuals, there's 20,000 operators or shooters or door kickers.
What makes SEAL Team 6 different and what makes Delta Force different is they're Tier 1 counter-terrorist units, which means they can go anywhere in the world at a moment's notice.
There's a situation in the world that threatens Americans' lives. The president wants to know a few things right away. Where's the nearest aircraft carrier? Where's the nearest SEAL team? Where's the nearest Delta Squadron? How soon can I point the needle in the right direction?
Special Operations units trained in areas of direct action, psychological operations, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. Many consider the Navy SEALs to be the best fighting force on Earth, and they are often tasked with conducting the most harrowing and dangerous missions.
SEAL actually stands for Sea, Air, and Land. That's the elements from which we operate. The sea, air, we skydive in, fast rope in from a helicopter, and of course the land we can patrol in. So sea, air, and land is what forms the acronym SEAL.
SEALs are described as the surgeons of shooting. We all have a deck in his hands or any number of edged weapons. So, guy can stab you, slash you, jab, poke, shoot you, render you unconscious, or straight out kill you with his hands. That's a deadly combination.
Was failed American invasion of Cuba in April 1961, known as the Bay of Pigs, that compelled President John F. Kennedy to create a special force outside the CIA, one that would be capable of conducting unconventional operations.
He began to see the duplicity involved with what he was being told about the Bay of Pigs invasion. It became more and more clear to him that the CIA was not properly accountable. He became so angry at this that he actually declared that what he wanted to do was destroy the make it as he had to do it.
In 1960, the famous Man of the Moon speech to Congress. President Kennedy made public his desire for a special fighting force.
I'm asking the Congress for an additional $100 million to expand existing forces for the conduct of non-nuclear war, paramilitary operations, and sublimited or unconventional war.
The Navy SEALs was originally formed by John F. Kennedy in 1962. President Kennedy had the foresight to realize that wars of the future would be low-intensity conflicts that would just spring up real quick, and we needed the guys to send in to do that job.
April 24, 1980. President Jimmy Carter orders an ultra-clandestine Operation Eagle Claw, in to rescue 52 U.S. Embassy employees held captive in Iran for nearly 6 months.
Eagle Claw, it was implemented in terms of what went wrong. We went over and over what could go wrong, and damn it, something went wrong. So a sandstorm kicks up, they got the filter helicopter, they couldn't lift off enough, hit the wing tank of the C-130.
That operation was the reason why the entire special operations community was reorganized in the aftermath. It was the direct consequence of the failure of that mission.
Following the Eagle Claw debacle, where 8 U.S. servicemen died, the Department of Defense commissioned Vietnam veteran Trinco to build a top-secret counterterrorism unit, Navy SEAL Team 6.
The consequence of that Eagle Claw was that, of course, Navy SEAL Team 6. I consider my thesis ability to one of the things about 6 that when I built it, I called it 6, but there was only 2. We still had the Cold War going. So I said, let them figure out where 3, 4, and 5 were. I'll go to 6. I think that Eagle Claw, for being a failure, certainly has a plus in that Congress-mandated establishment of Joint Special Operations Command, and now you have a bona fide staff that does nothing but keep track of terrorism and special operations around the world. But we now have this Tier 1 capability. We won't let it be like that happen again.
Tier 1 special operators like the Navy SEALs must conduct high-risk counterterrorism missions with surgical precision in a matter of minutes. But what training process prepare a soldier for these life and death covert missions? And what skills really separate a Navy SEAL from other Tier 1 operatives?
What does it take to become a black operator? First of all, you got to be a volunteer to one of the branches of the armed forces. Second, you have to qualify. That means a very rigorous selection process.
When you look at the verse, Active duty military personnel is 1.4 million, which represents 0.001% of our population. So when you look at SEAL team, there's only about 1,200 SEALs that are actually what we call door kickers, shooters, or operators. So not only 0.001% of the military, but you're 0.00005% of the entire nation.
Nobody is recruited in the SEAL teams. To be a Navy SEAL, you have to volunteer. You got to go through screening, physical, mental, and there are 3 key characteristics in the SEAL teams. Aptitude 1, very, very intelligent people. Physical fitness, and the biggest of all is mental toughness. And that's the key thing that separates a Navy SEAL from anybody else on the planet.
The attrition rate with respect to SEAL training is pretty high. It's never been lower than 85%, which means 85% of the people that try out don't make it. Matter of fact, the first day they say, look to the left, look to the right, look behind you. 10 months from now, only one of you is going to be here.
Navy SEALs, secret training exercises can be more rigorous and intensive than battlefield operations.
We train aggressive SEAls. One of our mottos is, the more you sweat peace, the less you bleed war. BUDS training is an acronym, and that stands for Basic Underwater Demolition SEAL Training. That's the initial forwarding process that every SEAL has to go through.
If you're going through BUDS and you don't at least think about quitting, something's wrong. People die in BUDS, have hypothermia, people die at SEAL training.
Get down, come on, start crawling!
Parachute accidents, diving accidents, fast roping accidents. When you get to that level of training, everything you do is inherently dangerous. That's the price you pay for sharpening that spear.
Before Navy SEAL candidates can graduate to the next level of training, they must survive the most anticipated and feared part of BUDS training, Hell Week. For grueling 6 days, these men must put themselves beyond their limitations, or they will go home.
Hell starts on a Sunday afternoon, and it culminates on Friday. It's an evolution from swims to obstacle courses to running all over the place with boats in your heads. There's a rotating shift of instructors who are all SEAL cells.
Into the water.
So every 8 hours, you get a fresh crew of these guys that are ready to stick their foot on your backside. The #1 quality of every SEAL is just a general overall state of perseverance. We are not quitters. We would rather die than quit. I'm not going to be anyone's prisoner of war. You're going to have to kill me, because I'll chew your face off if I don't have any energy left.
BUDS is just a screening process. Now you prove you have the aptitude to do demolition, the skydiving, the diving, the ice work, hostage rescue, whatever it is that may be required. So that's another 6 to 10 months of intense training that's worse than BUDS.
The elite 15% who actually survive Hell Week, and even more harrowing experience awaits. Closed quarters battle.
Well, CQB is an acronym for Close Quarters Battle. It's the toughest type of battle. Close quarters could be on a ship, be on an airliner. It's basically non-conventional warfare, not open terrain.
You're in confined spaces, close order, and not only is that, you're fighting amongst each other. So you're now going to a room where you have ricochets, you have hostages, you've got friendly assets in there, and you have bad guys in there, and you're all firing.
Close quarters combat is a myriad of combat techniques that are slammed together in this homogeneous mixture of kicking. If you don't have the physical skills or the mental skills to shift gears and quickly figure out a solution to the problem that's right in front of you, you're going to die.
For Tier 1 operators, special closed quarters resources are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. These facilities are aptly named kill houses.
A kill house is a training house for CQB. You can arrange good guy, bad guy targets. You have capacity to change the furniture around, changing the entry points, modifying it, and transferring it. There's no, oh, I would have had it.
Being able to shoot a 3x5 index card about this big and being able to put 2 bullets into that every single time. They come with you up 2 o'clock in the morning, tell you to gear up, and we go do a kill house run. You've got to be able to make those killing shots every single time. Once I got to SEAL Team 6, I realized that I didn't know what I didn't know. These guys CQB down to a science. You only think you know CQB unless you are SEAL Team 6.
In the training process, you're basically given the qualities of a world-class athlete. Right at the very beginning, you're taught the importance of teamwork. They train together, they work together, they commit together, and they become part of a remarkable effective special operations unit in the process.
Once sea tactical training is completed, the few Navy SEALs that make it receive the SEAL Trident. To the men of the Navy SEALs, it's more than just a badge of honor.
The SEAL Trident is the insignia that SEALs wear on their uniforms. The head of our eagle is bowed in deference to the nation because we are at service to the nation. The second is ultimate pistol. The hammer is cocked, which is indicative of a constant state of readiness. Also, there's Neptune Trent on there, which represents our mystery command of the sea.
This is like the biggest, baddest, and biggest piece of chest equipment that anybody wears. And every SEAL that gets one of these has that buried into his chest, literally. They're punched in by your commanding officer, your team leader, and everybody in your platoon. You have to literally pull it out of your chest after you earn that. I made up my mind. I'm either going back to Wayne County, Georgia with the Trident in my chest, or they're got to mail me back in a box.
For the United States, top-secret Black Ops missions are a necessary, yet extremely costly endeavor. Billions of dollars are invested in training, equipment, weapons, transportation, and operational support. But just how do covert operations get funded by a government that denies their very existence?
A black budget is essentially monies allocated for the maintenance, resourcing, logistics of our covert operations team. Now, it's not open book. That's the reason why it's clandestine and covert. If it's not, then you might as well get out of the game.
The money for black budgets is all done secretly. The House and Senate Intelligence Committees have closed-door sessions where they approve these black budgets.
CIA has a separate fund from Congress. Military has black ops that are special access programs. You can't keep it secret.
It takes a lot of money to train the operators. It takes a lot of money to equip the operators. When I started with 100 shooters in 1980, my training allowance for bullets was larger than the training allowance for the Marine Corps. That's a lot of bullets. But when you're saying, I'm coming to save you, you don't care about the cost of a bullet.
You have the ability to buy cutting equipment, cutting-edge gear from clothes that you're wearing, to weaponry, to optics, to even experimental types of food that we're looking at to give guys more sustainable energy in the field.
The very fact that the federal government denies their preservation of a so-called black budget, this is a kind of a game being played with the American people.
Billions of funding for appropriate black ops every year. Just who is signing the checks? Could there be a secret chain of command, as some believe, that stretches all the way to the White House?
I know there's a lot of query about House Chamber, and quite frankly, I am not at liberty to take the risk that I'm going to divulge something I shouldn't.
The chain of command of that Tier 1 is working for the National Command Authority. National Authority is the President of the United States and Secretary of Defense. That's it. Manage the Joint Chiefs of Staff. But in essence, you're talking about President 1, Secretary of Defense, and the Chiefs of Troops. That's not a normal military function. So that allows you direct line for funding, direct line for intelligence, direct line for action, and everybody's on short tether.
They sell you secrecy in the name of the enemy will know. We've got to have some secrecy. And then it grows and grows and grows and grows and expands and expands and expands. And it's gobbled up by the national security state.
How is the president shielded from domestic and international accountability when a covert operation is exposed? Just how much or little is the president aware of?
Plausible deniability has been written into the substructure of operations under the National Security Act of 1947. Anything that is being done that is illegal, immoral, unethical, or potentially embarrassing must be plausibly deniable by people at the highest levels.
Many times, the people involved don't even know exactly what they're doing. If that way of thing go wrong, they can be cut loose. Plausible deniability.
Secrecy is always a good thing. The problem with secrecy is when it covers incompetence. Talking about the United States government, there's a lot of incompetence. And that's the purpose of secrecy. It doesn't serve this country.
Spring 1984. Prior to the Summer Olympics in Los Angeles, California, Deputy Chief of Naval Operations James A. Lyons, Jr. voiced concerns about vulnerabilities on America's military bases both at home and abroad. Determined to expose potential in America's defense systems, Vice Admiral Lyons enlisted the mastermind behind SEAL Team 6, Commander Richard Marcinko, to create and conduct an ultra-secret black op known as Red Cell.
So I pulled some SEAL Team 6 members and hired a group of cameramen, and we were in, say, which one of your bases would you like us to attack? He would pick it, and I would go out there, and we would attack the base. I'd attack it for 9 to 10 days, and every day I would be senior officer on what I had done the night before and what I got away with, and presented him with a film. This gotcha.
Commander Marcinko's Red Cell did in fact expose security weaknesses on American military compound. But just how vulnerable were they?
In New London, Connecticut, I was able to get on board nuclear submarines. When Reagan was president, I got a truckload of 500-pound bombs alongside Air Force One. That proved the vulnerability, and policy-wise had to be resolved.
But did the findings of the Red Cell mission also expose other secrets? Ones that would threaten Commander Marcinko's very future?
Did I get in trouble? I conspired with myself? I didn't know you'd do that. Apparently I did. I was already retired, and Naval Investigative Service. They spent a lot of money to find out how I did all the things I did. I was guilty of a grenade contract that I said I needed. The Army was the contracting service. I had nothing to do with it, but I was the one who went to jail. Because I didn't say it cost too much. I spent time in a federal camp, a little over a year. Landed a manure pile and came out smelling like a rose.
Did Marcinko violate the chain of command? Or was the former SEAL Team 6 commander a victim of his own covert mission? Did the government create Red Cell as a means to orchestrate an even larger secret agenda?
Red Cell had a duality to it. It was testing out American installations, it was also simultaneously building a database that is going to allow us to move in a black fashion all over the world and assemble an assault team somewhere without any knowing.
Undoubtedly, the most secretive and highly classified of all Black Ops missions originated within the cloak and dagger world of the Central Intelligence Agency. Many CIA operatives spend their entire careers shrouded in clandestine existence, operating behind enemy lines, spying against foreign countries, stealing secrets, and conducting counterintelligence.
When you look at CIA, we are the nation's first line of defense. We go where others cannot go, and we accomplish what others cannot accomplish. We spy. We conduct espionage. We steal secrets. We do it through human sources. We conduct analysis. The actual number of analysts we have is classified number. It's the largest collection of intelligence analysts in the American government by far.
You also have affiliated organizations within the CIA that aren't necessarily based at Langley. It's very highly classified, how they do it, where they do it, when they do it. Very few of those are actually publicly acknowledged.
Everything that the CIA does have to be done secretly, because when CIA officers go into foreign countries to collect intelligence, they are violating the laws of those countries.
Nearly 160 miles away from CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia, tucked into the countryside, is an ultra-clandestine training facility, Camp Peary, where new CIA operatives prove themselves. The U.S. government refuses to acknowledge its existence. Insiders simply refer to as ARM.
The farm is a training base. It's an old naval base, which we're not allowed to name, but you can say the farm. They train you on all sorts of stuff there. Train you on weapons, high-speed driving, how to run somebody off the road at 70 miles an hour, parachute training, secret writing, short-range agent communication, communicating with satellites, rendezvousing with a submarine in the Atlantic in the middle of the night, useful skills like that.
Skill set the special operator employs is astounding. It's communications, it's explosives, it's demolitions, it's explosive and its disposal. It's every kind of weapon that you can imagine.
We can go to CVS and I can make a bomb between now and midnight to this hotel. Now, how are you going to stop that?
From the farm, an operative will be dropped in a major USC and must maintain his or her cover in a real-life game of scienter.
The CIA training never stops. They put you on the streets of Washington and have constant surveillance. They even use FBI agents. You're supposed to detect them. You're supposed to be able to put down dead drops, even under observation. You're going 18 hours a day, and what they're trying to do is break you down to see at what point you make mistakes. What they want to do is find people that can live overseas under the pressure of a foreign government watching them. You learn it as part of your life. Every single room you assume is wired. You assume you're under surveillance all the time.
Former CIA operative Bob Baer, whose clandestine exploits inspired the 2005 thriller Syriana, was in charge of CIA in Iraq during the years following Persian Gulf War. His Black Op mission? To organize opposition against one of the most brutal dictators in modern history, Saddam Hussein.
An Iraqi general came to me and said he can get rid of Saddam. He hid a tank company near Tikrit, and our plan was to cause a diversion in Baghdad, start shooting so Saddam would move to Tikrit, and then once he was there, our colonel was going to move these 12 tanks on his compound near Tikrit and ask him to resign or we'd kill him.
In 1995, Baer informed the Clinton administration that the opportunity existed to neutralize the man known as the Butcher of Baghdad. But, inexplicably, they refused.
I was called back by the FBI and investigated for murder and attempted murder. And I figured once you're starting to think about putting you in jail, it's time to move on.
But why would the government stop Baer's Black Op? Investigate its highest-ranking CIA operative working in Iraq.
When I was in the CIA, it was a very black and white world. We were worried about the Soviet Union. It was Moscow going to launch an attack on the United States. The people that were doing counterterrorism leading up to 9/11 had moved off accounts on the Soviet Union. So you had a guy that was very good at counting tanks, and then all of a sudden you're doing Bin Laden. These people had never set foot outside the Beltway. In Big Arabic, they didn't quite know who Bin Laden was. What was Al-Qaeda?
And what would be the ultimate consequence as the antiquated CIA struggled to modernize? September 11th, 2001. America fell victim to a covert attack at home.
When 9/11 happened, I was in Washington, D.C. Somebody called me on the phone and said, turn the TV on. Second plane hits. Then the Pentagon hits. And I can see the Pentagon burning from my house. My first reaction is, all right, we're going to finally get serious about this.
The events of 9/11 galvanized the intelligence community and Tier 1 special forces with one unified Black Op mission: to hunt down and kill the mastermind behind the 9/11 attack, Osama bin Laden.
The event of 9/11 almost served as an opening of a floodgate for special operations. It's almost like having this brother that's been in a cage with a choke chain on, and all of a sudden they open up the cage, they take the choke chain off, they open up the gate and say, bite some people.
August 2010. White House intelligence officers call a top-secret meeting with President Obama. Nearly 10 years after 9/11, President Barack Obama gave the orders to launch the Black Op to capture or kill Osama bin Laden. Operation Neptune Spear. On May 2nd, 2011, at 1:15 a.m., an American military transport departs Bagram, Afghanistan. where 24 elite warriors from SEAL Team 6 arrived at an air base in northwest Pakistan and boarded 2 Chinook helicopters. Their destination? A multi-level Abad compound, fortified with walls and armed guards.
We had been watching that place for years. In the months leading up to the actual operation, we had constructed a mock compound. The SEAL Team 6 guys, they knew every square inch of the compound, much like you or I would know details in our kitchen.
There were 8 or 9 years of work, incredibly labor-intensive, painstaking work carried out by the CIA and others that led eventually to landing on site and taking out bin Laden.
Escorted by a pair of stealth Black Hawk helicopters, the SEALs, equipped with vision goggles and M4 carbine rifles, propelled into the compound.
They had all the details of the compound, but the door thought was a door was a false door. It was a facade. They ended up having to blow their way through one of the walls.
While the SEALs entered the house, a previously unreported stealth helicopter was forced to land.
We were told publicly that it was a special operations helicopter. It was damaged and then partially destroyed.
We would have known about that special helicopter if it hadn't crashed.
As the SEALs inside, they rely on their close quarters combat training, clearing room after room.
They climbed up that 3-story inner compound, and that's where they found Osama bin Laden. They took him out as he was reaching for a weapon.
In a matter of seconds, the world's most notorious terrorist was dead.
The entire operation happened in under an hour, about 38 minutes, but the actual defining moments wherein they were able to locate Osama and put rounds in his body happened in under a minute.
38 minutes is a very long time. It becomes even longer if people are shooting back at him. It becomes even longer if you crash a helicopter and you have to breach through a wall and you don't know if somebody else is coming for reinforcements.
Sunday, May 1st, 11:35 p.m. President Obama addresses the nation.
The United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, leader of Al-Qaeda.
But in hours, conflicting details of the raid spread worldwide, and over the next several days, the official statement from the United States government would change multiple times.
In the first week after that raid, we're told so many conflicting stories that have never been resolved. Why, really, they disposed of the body so quickly, whose orders it was to assassinate him rather than to take such a high-value intelligence target in for questioning.
Nobody outside the team that hit the compound in Abad knows what went on that compound. I find it laughable for people to think that anybody's got any inside information about what really went on inside Optic bin Laden and stuff like that.
You're going to hear a lot of propaganda. You're going to hear a lot of propaganda out of the White House, and then you got the SEALs don't want to talk about it at all.
Quite frankly, I was stunned at how much was revealed about the operation to bin Laden. What we know is that the administration announced the SEAL team carried out a raid in which bin Laden was killed. And bin Laden was then taken out to Egypt and his body was given Muslim burial.
The death of bin Laden marked the war on terror's great victory. So why would the United States government be so eager to revise its accounts of the bin Laden raid and refuse to release any photos?
Every warrior in those kinds of units understands that divulging information, even about an operation that may have taken place years ago, can jeopardize those who are on the next mission. That'll let him loose lips, sink ships. They get that.
For highly classified covert missions, secrecy is paramount. But could the clandestine nature of black ops like Operation Neptune Spear spawn conspiracy theories and fuel mistrust in the government?
With that kind of information, you don't really know whether, in fact, the operation went as characterized. In fact, you don't even really know. There's no proof that Osama bin Laden was ever even there.
Upwards of 90% of warfare today is psychological in nature or a sound. And I cannot stress enough how integral and how key this is to the overall system.
Psyops, or psychological operations, are basically an attempt to influence hearts and minds. It's an attempt to convince people of certain things. Some of them true, some of them not true.
Beyond propaganda, rumors, and conflicting accounts, one thing remains clear. The escalation of black budget may point to one of America's greatest military secrets. The future of American warfare and the global war on terrorism lies largely in black ops and the elite warriors who are prepared to sacrifice their own lives for the safety of their nation.
I've had people ask me, is it true that most black ops don't live to their 30th birthday? When I got to SEAL Team 6, if you'd told me that I would live to be 40, I would have thought you were crazy.
The secrets that we keep are very, very necessary. We don't like people to know where we've been, where we're going, where we've come back from.
I was an elite warrior in the modern world, and that's all I cared about. They had a saying at SEAL Team 6 called, live fast, die young, and leave a good-looking corpse.